I think Seattle is a scary team as far as being in the wild card. They're at 6 point margin with the spread. The over under is 41.5. They are playing in Seattle. I do like Seattle a lot. That's why I think I'm going to go with Seattle. Geno Smith, that offense with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I think it's just too much for them. Moving on, Dallas at Cleveland. We're in Cleveland. 2.5 point spread for Cleveland in favor of that spread. Dallas has a lot of question marks, right? They don't know what they're going to get the running game going. Rico Dowdle is a good, not great running back. You also got Zeke Elliott. Can he become that, 1B running back for the Dallas Cowboys? The Cowboys are facing, a tough defense in Cleveland. Cleveland may be the best defense in all of football when it's all said and done at the end of the year. Again, think of Myles Garrett, just Denzel Ward. They got a lot of good pieces on that defensive side of the football. And Steven Stefanski's coming off of one of his best years as a coach. So I am going Cleveland. I do think that they immensely cover the spread 2.5. I actually think that Cleveland will win probably by 6 points, maybe 7. But Dallas, they're going to have to figure things out because, again, when you think of it, they got rid of their offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore went from Cowboys to Eagles. Their defense has a lot of different question marks. Trayvon Diggs, is he going to be back in the mix? Is he going to be a guy that you can count on being healthy all year round? Micah Parsons, I think, can get off the quarterback because we all know that, right? DeMarcus Lawrence, so I think there's just a lot of different question marks that Dallas has right now that I don't have answers for. And Dak Prescott having a quarterback, type of, a contract year, he's going to have to play at a very, very strong, he's going to have a strong season. And if he doesn't have a strong season, Dallas is probably not going to resign him, and they're going to face another different type of regime. Moving on, so again, I got Cleveland there. Washington at Tampa Bay. Jane Daniels, I think, is going to be a star in Washington. I really think that they don't have, right now, currently constituted, they don't have the best pieces around him. Yes, they got McLaurin, and they got Dewami Brown, and we all know Brian Robinson's issue of getting shot in the leg last year, and Austin Eckler, and their defense. Again, if you're talking like a mediocre defense and in the NFC East, they're just right there with the Giants. You can say that they need more. They got rid of Fuller. Fuller went to Miami. So I really think that Tampa Bay will have their own in this game, but I think James Daniels will compete at a high level. I don't think Tampa Bay covers the spread at 3.5. I actually think it's going to be around 3. Washington's more than capable of staying in the game. And this is going to be a big moment, a massive moment, for Jaden Daniels. And if he can come alive, and show that he's more than capable of leading this team in the right direction, you could see an upset. And I would say upset as far as Tampa goes with Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rachaad White. That offensive line is tremendous. LA Rams and Detroit Lions. I've been going back and forth on this one. I did hear Matthew Stafford's family staying in LA. Good decision. I do think that Detroit is not going to be happy with Matthew Stafford, but I look at Matthew Stafford's capability in this offense as being the X factor. If he can find a way to bring it this season, I'm talking 4,000 passing yards. I'm talking 30 touchdowns and less than 10 interceptions, which I think he's capable of doing. They do have Puka Nacua, as we all know, and Cooper Kupp, but Demarcus Robinson, I think, could be a good wide receiver for them too. And that tandem of Kyron Williams and Blake Corum having one of the strongest rushing performances in Michigan history. I think he had 21 goal line touchdowns last year for Michigan. I really think that the Rams could make their name known in this game. They are heading to Detroit, as I mentioned. Dan Campbell's built a culture there. and they have Jared Goff and they have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jameson Williams is back healthy. Jahmyr Gibbs is kind of banged up with that MCL. But I really think that Detroit can find a way to at least keep it close. But the spread's 3.5. So I think the Rams may break that spread. And I can see it as being I would say 27-24 type of performance for the Lions. But the Rams will beat that spread. The Jets at San Fran. This is a prove it game for Aaron Rodgers. He's going to San Fran, California, his beloved California, which he loves. He went to University of California there. And if you look at the Jets and what they're capable of doing offensively, it's tremendous. They Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, Brees Hall, great offensive line. They got Tyron Smith in free agency. I know the injuries, people. I understand Tyron Smith can't stay healthy, but I can see him having a very good year and maybe an all-pro type of year if he stays healthy. I get it. Morgan Moses on the right side. They got Lajavere Tucker in the mix. Their defense with Sauce Gardner. There's a lot of questions there defensively. We understand that. But I really think that the New York Jets, you know, San Fran's a tough opponent. They're going to be a tough opponent every single year, right? They're going to be a very, very big dog in the NFC. And that's why I think if Aaron Rodgers can find a way to make things happen against Shanahan defense, which I know he's gone up against multiple times in his career, he likes the fact that he's going up against San Fran first week. Trust me. He wants to prove it to people. He had a torn Achilles last year in the first game. When he last 7 seconds? It's just one of those things where you have to find a way at his age to make things happen. If he doesn't find a way to get close to 3,500 passing yards, probably 28 touchdowns and around 7 interceptions at the highest, he will be in consideration for obviously comeback play of the year, but also help the New York Jets possibly get a wild card spot. Because I do think the New York Jets and Miami are the best teams in the wild card. I do have San Fran, though. I think San Fran's going to beat the spread, too. I think San Fran, the way that they're built right now, McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, a happy Brandon Ayuk makes the world a happier place in San Fran. You got George Kittle, balancing out that offense and the passing attack. George Kittle is going to have to be the X factor in that offense. Defensively, I know that there's some question marks, especially with the new defensive coordinator, but they always find a way to have a systematic approach and be efficient defensively. They're always going to be top five. Always going to be top five in allowing points scored, not allowing points scored. Third down conversions are going to be low for the offense. So that's why I do have San Fran. I think they will stop Aaron Rodgers. But who knows if Aaron Rodgers wants to, play at an elite level, he can make it a game. So that's the breakdown for week one, right? So that's the week one breakdown. We're gonna pick several projections for Underdog Fantasy right now, and I cannot say enough, people. Underdog Fantasy is the game to play, right? We all know football season is upon us. We understand that. Deposit is offered up to $1,000. Win up to 1,000 times your money. It's only a $10 minimum. So download the app, play, get your earnings. Play up, Shark Sports Radio listeners. I'm telling you right now, you will not be disappointed. Josh Allen. So Josh Allen with the passing yards and rushing yards combined is at 287.5, right? I have the higher. I do think Arizona's defense is not good. They are going to be bottom feeders in this year's regular season. Marvin Harrison Jr. on the other side of the football with the Arizona Cardinals, he is at 59.5 receiving yards. I do have that as higher too. I think that Kyler Murray is going to try to throw the football at a high clip against Buffalo. Again, if you look at Buffalo's defense, there's a lot of holes, terrible amount of holes. DeMar Hamlin's coming back. We all know his story. He's starting at free safety. But they don't have Jordan Poyer. They don't have Matt Milano. They have a lot of questions on their defensive line. I really think that Kyle Murray could play really, really well on Sunday. And Marvin Haverson Jr. at 59.5 is kind of a stab to him. So we don't want that. Marvin Haverson Jr., we're going higher. Anthony Richardson, higher, absolutely higher than 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. I look at Anthony Richardson as a very elusive quarterback like Lamar Jackson, but he's got to show it, especially in a tough division that they're going to be playing against. Tough schedule. Their division is not as strong. They got Houston, they got Jacksonville, and they got Tennessee. Tennessee, Jacksonville, Houston's going to be the dog in that. The Colts are going to have a tough time though. But Quentin Nelson is the MVP of that team. He's very, very strong on that offensive line. Anthony Costanzo as well. Latu is going to be on one side, and then you got Kwity Paye on the other. So Kwity Paye, shout out to him. We always give him a shout out on this podcast. Shout out Warwick, Rhode Island, Bishop Hendricken. Kwity Paye is going to be a very dominant player because Latu is going to allow him to get more and more, touches as far as pass rushes go. Dalton Schultz, he is at 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. I do have the higher on that. I think Dalton Schultz in that explosive offense, he's kind of overlooked. He was pretty, 600, 700 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns, for the Dallas Cowboys, always in that mix. I can see him in Houston doing a similar thing, balancing that attack, making things happen. And then we did finish off with Kyle Pitts, but it seems like Kyle Pitts is not going to be playing due to he's questionable right now due to his hamstring. We do have, if you were to put on a bet, projection, it would be 44.5 receiving yards. So we will see if he plays in that game. I think there's a lot of question marks with his availability. So again, go play Underdog Fantasy. I can't say it enough. You're going to have a blast. I did lose out in a couple of projections last night, but when you play Underdog Fantasy, you're playing more than just watching the game. You're having fun. You're talking about the players, especially from a fantasy standpoint as well. They have pick'ems. They have drafts. They have ways that you can make money more and more ways than one. The flex options are awesome too. You can win in a lot of variety of ways, whether that's 4 picks, 5 picks, 6 picks. If you decide to, dish out the projections and make things happen, you can win a whole lot of money working with Underdog Fantasy app. And Underdog is the place to be. Go download it on all your tablets, smartphones. Find it anywhere you can possibly imagine. Thank you all for tuning in. Week 1 has arrived. We are here. It's NFL 2024. Let's get it started.